Thank you. All right, we are here. It is March 15th, 1:01 p.m., second regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners for March. And let me pull up. Sorry, trying to get the agenda in the chat here. Put the agenda in the chat, and then I will entertain an approval of the agenda from my fellow commissioners. Okay, here we go. We have, oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to move that we approve the agenda that you just posted in the chat and was posted online.
I'll second.
Excellent. Any further discussion?
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
Okay, great. I guess I will also just add that at the end, we do have bills and payroll and veteran services report to add to that. But with no other discussion, all those in favor, aye.
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 Very good. And community informational items. Commissioner Marcella, do you have anything for us?
Just a little bit of information. The state is moving fast and furious through the dial conversation. So public health will be in contact with everyone about those dial metrics and any movement on the dial. It'll be very important for everyone to continue to pay attention to local public health orders, as they could very quickly become different from that of the states. We don't know what that looks like yet, but there's some high-level conversations happening with our partners at the state about some impending changes. So just an important reminder to check with our local public health agency about our local public health orders and what they mean. The only other thing that I wanted to talk through is just that the county will be awarded some funding through the American Rescue Plan, the latest stimulus package. And so we're still awaiting the guidance on that stimulus package and the details. So once we have that, then we will be able to determine how to make that money go as far as it can. So still waiting on the guidance from the United States Treasury, but as soon as we have that, we'll be able to pass that information along. We also completed our strategic planning for childcare recently, and so that final document has been sent out. If you didn't receive a copy and would like one, I can pass one on to you. I'll have our IT department place that on our county website as well under the Department of Human Services tab. That work will be continuing with an action coalition with Build a Generation and the Communities That Care program from the state. And then we also may be eligible for some child care stabilization funding from the latest round of stimulus funding as well. So we'll be exploring that option going into the future, but that work will continue to roll pretty fast and furious. The Action Coalition has a doodle poll out that will close on March 19th. So if you're interested in participating in any of that work, please send me an email or a text and I will connect you with Build a Generation to participate in that coalition. And with that, that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Fiedler.
Yeah, thanks for that work, Commissioner Mazzella, and updates. I guess I want to say the state legislature is in session, and through some of the groups that we're a part of, county associations tracking some transportation legislation, and there's no action, but just a heads up that we're paying attention to potential quite significant change in how statewide transportation monies are raised and how they're shared out. And the Lake County and other counties that we work with have been pretty active in just making sure that that funding is, you know, fair for more rural counties and doesn't just address the needs of sort of Front Range and more, you know, dense sort of metropolitan areas. So, you know, that's something we anticipate moving pretty fast in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be paying attention. And also wanted to call out both previous boards, but also Commissioner Marcella and their lobby have been working, and the city have been working on a number of areas, you know, like some local transit ideas, trying to prepare the city and county for greater number of electric vehicles coming through. So, you know, we've been paying attention to this over the years, but I think it's going to be all the more important with the sort of, again, new funding and new allocation streams. And I think just a, you know, a bit of a change towards multimodal, you know, more transit, trying to make transit work for less dense and more rural areas. So I think a lot of exciting stuff going on that we're doing our best to pay attention to.
Commissioner Fish, oh, sorry, Sarah. I just had a quick question about that. Is that transportation legislation going to impact like general operating from the Federal Transit Authority, that type of transportation? Is that what you're talking about?
Don't know the answer. I think this is more about the Colorado state revenues that are generated through, you know, state fees and taxes, and how those are distributed to counties and municipalities and to CDOT, and then the priorities given to those pots of money. So I think it's really more about the sort of fairness and, you know, political heft between you know, different municipalities and regions of the state, and just making sure that it's a bargain that works as well as it can for everyone. And I think, you know, from our, well, sorry, your question was about federal, so I don't think it really influences the federal directly.
Okay, just curious. I just wanted to, I forgot to make a comment that we will start the work on our transit feasibility study, local transit feasibility study, to complement our regional routes. And so that will be moving relatively quickly in the next couple of weeks. The city and the county will be partnering on that. So thanks, Jeff, for sharing that. I totally forgot about it. Sorry, Commissioner Mudge.
No worries. One quick comment too regarding the transportation. I know that was always kind of a something advocated for on behalf of Lake County and the city on you know, the ability and capacity of our rural community to have shovel-ready projects that competed with you know, off ramps of Vail and those along the I-70 corridor. So hopefully we are looking at maybe some shifts in prioritizing and perhaps capacity building. I know the question was actually entertained with some safe routes to school funding opportunities for a lot of that planning. But yeah, eager to hear more. Thanks for that report out, Commissioner Fiedler. I would like to just report out, you know, having a decision to engage with our facilitation for the first phase at the beginning of our community wildfire protection planning. The core logistics team is having a meeting next week, and so we will soon be outlining and pushing out a community survey for all to answer, which hopefully will allow us to gather information on community priorities and understanding of the assets and forest health. So keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we have a lot of folks and entities that will help distribute and encourage participation in that. Any other updates that come to mind, commissioners, before I move on?
None for me.
All right. Okay. And next we have an update on COVID-19. And so we have Colleen Nielsen, our public health director here. Colleen, you want to take a moment and give us an update?
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going? And so, you know, per what Commissioner Marcella shared, we do have the ability to move into what's called the blue on the dial for the state. and that just allows for a little bit less restrictions. It does not change the fact that you have to continue to wear your mask in public, that you need to maintain 6-foot distancing. We encourage you to wash your hands. We encourage you not to show up anywhere if you're sick, et cetera, et cetera. The big piece that's happening this week is that, per the governor late last week, is that they're opening it up to the next phase. And if I'm able to share my screen, I can show that really quickly because I think that's valuable for folks. And with that being said, we are currently on phase 1B3. And that includes folks age 60 and older, frontline essential workers in grocery and agriculture, as well as folks for us, because of the vaccine that we currently have available in our county, that's Moderna. So that would include folks 18 years old and up with 2 or more high-risk conditions. And so as of this coming Friday, we, as a state, are moving into phase 1B4. And so obviously, as you can see, this includes a lot more folks, a much bigger group, and a lot of what we've had, a lot of the questions that have come in through the weekend and this morning as well is, I want to receive my vaccine. And I think that's amazing. And I'm so excited that people are stepping up and ready to be vaccinated. Please recognize that this is thousands of people in this group. And we currently receive about 300 vaccines into our community a week. And so as public health, we are trying to get more vaccine per the state, that by the end of this month, there will be a lot more vaccine and we'll have the ability to do what we call large points of dispensing or large pods. That most likely isn't going to happen until the end of this month. So probably the week of the 29th of March. In the interim, all our providers are able to vaccinate those groups. That includes St. Vincent Health, Rocky Mountain Family Practice, and Safeway. We have also heard from some of our surrounding counties that they do have the ability to take some folks in. So I encourage you to look around in other counties. There is no wrong door for getting a vaccine if you're eligible in that phase. And so I think that's something important to note. There is a clinic happening tomorrow down in Buena Vista that still has spots available for that 1B3 group, which is right here. And so if you think you're eligible, we are pushing that out on social media per the OK from Chaffey County, knowing that they have some available spots. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate your enthusiasm and excitement to get vaccinated. But once again, please recognize this is thousands of people who are just going to take time. And so there are some lists being generated from those providers. Public health is not generating any kind of list. So please reach out to those providers directly for that information. And so any questions on that before I unshare my screen?
Colleen, I think it's exciting and worth mentioning that the school district folks have all just in the last couple of days, correct, had their second wave of vaccinations.
Yeah, and so we were able to successfully educate our Lake County School District for all those folks who wanted that vaccine. They have received their second dose. And as we know, to be fully vaccinated, at least with the Moderna vaccine that we're using here locally, that it is 2 doses plus 2 weeks prior to be fully vaccinated at that point in time. But yes, we feel confident that we were able to successfully vaccinate our school district at this point in time. And like I said, they got 2 more weeks to be fully vaccinated. But once again, it doesn't change the restrictions that we all are wearing, masks and all that other fun stuff.
Absolutely. Any questions for public health? Okay, I don't see any. Thank you very much, Colleen.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. All right, and moving on to commissioner clarifications. I don't have any clarifications. Commissioner Fiedler or Marcella?
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
Okay. All right, and space for public comment now. If you could raise your hand and identify yourself if you have public comment. I do not see any hand raising. Looks like a lot of folks here are for agenda items to speak to. Okay, going once, going twice. Very good. All right. And with no public comment requested. We'll move into our new items of business. All right, number one on our agenda, we have the Central Colorado Conservancy and Colorado Open Lands easements. We had Adam Bay from the Central Colorado Conservancy come speak with us a few meetings ago, or work sessions ago, I should say. And we've heard from him too in Lake County Open Space Initiatives meetings. And this project is rather exciting. There's let me pull up a map here to remind folks too. So these parcels had been identified through our Lake County Open Space Initiative group some years ago, maybe 10 about. And over time, in the last 3 years, they have worked with Central Colorado Conservancy and other partners to acquire the parcels in red here showing on my screen. These parcels are down, you can see Highway 82 here. These parcels down in the southern part of the county and provide for public access along the river. Meant to be non-motorized access. Some of the items that are outlined in the Central Colorado Conservancy and Colorado Open Lands deed, or conservation easement, that I'd like to request that the board acknowledge today before agreeing and approving or considering the approval of the access agreement. And so the Central Colorado Conservancy approached the county to consider a partnership with the 3 entities for management of the parcels. The trustees and the funding folks involved have allowed for the 3 entities, the county, CCC, and COL, to take the next 12 months and develop a land management plan over that time that is consistent with the conservation easement and the access easement. And so I asked the board to offer space for any further questions from the board, and acknowledge the conservation easement before going into considering approval of the access easement. Any questions, commissioners?
I don't think I have any questions right now.
I don't have any questions. Sort of the spirit of acknowledging, thanks to the entities that worked, the private landowner that has entered into this conservation easement and really worked hard, and the organizations that have really worked hard to preserve public access down the Arkansas River. I think it's just really great to continue keeping open space open, and again, that public access part. So thanks.
Absolutely. No, thanks for the comments. And I think the shift then to seek the county as a partner came too from further desire to leave opportunity open for continued improvement of that public access and the quality of the sections of river and lands that Central Colorado Conservancy has the resources to address for the community and for the county and for all enjoyment. So it's pretty exciting partnership, I think. And if there are no other questions, I'd love to make a motion or entertain a motion to acknowledge the intent or agreement of the intent of the conservation easement between Central Colorado Conservancy and the Colorado Open Lands.
So moved.
Second.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion?
No, thank you.
Okay, hearing none. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Great, and then moving on then to subsequent document regarding the county's involvement and partnership, or rather collaboration with Central Colorado Conservancy and Colorado Open Lands. The access agreement outlines a lot of the core intent of, again, maintaining the public access and certain improvements that are allowed and prohibited in order to maintain and conserve those lands for the intended use. And again, this access easement also outlines and identifies a management plan developed between the three entities over the next 12 months, in which we are expected to have many more conversations and discussion on as the county with those partners. Any questions on the access easement?
I don't think so. I just in reading through it, would this be between all four parties or just Colorado Central Conservancy?
It would be the Conservancy is the landowner, and the Colorado Open Lands has the conservation easement in collaboration with the Conservancy, and then the county as the managing collaborator will have the access easement to then control and enter the land. So it is technically between the Central Colorado Conservancy, but there is mention of all three agencies in collaboration across both documents, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes perfect sense to me now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah.
And just to add on to that, my understanding from reading the public access easement language is, I mean, that is a partnership in developing the management plan between Lake County, COL and CCC, and we sort of have to mutually agree on the terms of that management plan, which is a living document. It can be amended, and modified as we learn how to manage this land. And to me, I think it's exciting that Lake County is having, through this agreement, is going to have a stronger seat at the table in how this public access is managed than we would otherwise have, if it was managed by other entities.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
But with that comes some responsibilities for actually, doing that management. And I think within that, we do have to include, some amount of insurance, which I understand is, quite minimal and within our, easily able to be covered in our existing coverage.
Yeah. I can jump in there real quick just to say, Jeff, that the county's policy allows for naming of additional insureds at no additional cost. So that term within the access easement shouldn't create any significant financial burden to the county.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Mudge, in the development of that management plan, so we have 12 months from today to develop the management plan. Is that correct?
I believe that CCC still 12 months from adoption or approval of the agreement. CCC is going to the trustees and the funding agencies on the 24th for their final approval. So within a matter of a week or days, yes, 12 months from this time period to develop that plan.
Okay. And then we'll just have to have those conversations internally and then externally with the Colorado Open Lands, right?
Right. And
Okay.
and yep, Central Colorado Conservancy. Yep.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I had the expectations accurately reflected in my notes. I don't think I have any further questions at this time.
I'm all good as well. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. All right, well, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the access easement in collaboration with Central Colorado Conservancy on the Shawn Andrick Memorial Preserve.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, any further discussion?
No, thank you.
None for me.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
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 All right, great. Thank you very much. And I will keep you apprised of the results of the meeting with Central Colorado Conservancy on the 24th with the trustee group, and let you know what results come out of that meeting. If anything unanticipated, especially, but this is very good. Thanks so much for the consideration. All right, and back onto item number 2 on our list of business. So we have Lumen and CenturyLink amended contract. We had looked at amended costs for 2019 contract that we had been entered into, and reducing those costs to an appropriate tiered fee schedule for the actual use of the county bandwidth generated from 3 different locations: the courthouse, the airport, and road and bridge locations. And so I did receive a contract back from Lumen outlining further terms. One question that was pointed out by legal was the 36-month term that had been included in this amended language. I did reach out to Lumen and ask about whether or not we could simply include the 36-month term starting from that 2019 contract. And so if that were the board's desire, that would leave approximately 16 months left in terms of the existing contract. So I think with that question to the board, I believe that we have everything in place, and whether or not we want to start a new clock from today in 36 months or run out the old contract is my question to the board.
Sorry, Commissioner Mudge, if I missed this. So if we continue on the current clock with 16 more months, are we then continuing at the same cost level, and it would be in 16 months that we could lower costs, or are we able?
We'd be able to, we'd allow for the new fee table now and be put in place now, but the term for the remainder of the contract would be about 16 months, or we can enter into a new term of 36 months.
So if I'm understanding, it seems like the downside to picking the shorter 16-month remaining time frame would be that we would then have to renegotiate sooner.
Yeah.
and possibly have a fee increase.
That is my understanding, and I will get clarity from Lumen on whether or not the contract is subject to some of the state negotiations with them. I don't have that feedback yet. So yeah, I think that's the consideration, and I wonder if we can't move forward based on the response that we get from Lumen. Because again, just to reiterate, this new fee table cuts our monthly costs in half by appropriately giving us fees associated with use and demand.
Commissioner Mudge, this is
Yes.
Chris. I wanted to just chime in on Commissioner Fiedler's question. One thing to keep in mind is that this is the Lumen agreement is essentially an order that's going to be issued under the original CenturyLink contract. And what that means, one of the things to keep in mind about whether you want to go with the 16 or the 36 months at this point in time is that if for any reason except for cause, the county decides it doesn't want to continue with the services or something like that and wants to terminate, there is a termination penalty. And the amount of that termination penalty is calculated based on how many months are left in the term. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I'm not suggesting that you should go 16 months or 36, but that's just something you should have in the back of your mind in terms of for your consideration.
But that's Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, that termination of the contract is not a request for a change on the tables. As far as the communication back to me from Lumen, we can, if appropriate, and we want to change the tiers to get a higher bandwidth and rate because we're utilizing that much and we need that, we can change that at any time. And I'm not sure that we have really another carrier option. Commissioner Marcel, I see you unmuted.
Oh, no, sorry, I was
Oh.
going to ask a question, but I think you just answered it.
What I was going to say is the way the original contract reads, and as I understood the response from Lumen, there's no problem with going up in terms of the speed or that type of thing. I think the concern would be going down. You know, if you were to try to see.
Well, and
There's no, and I'm sorry, forgive me, I was pulling up the last email that you forwarded from Lumen. It says there's no fee or penalty for increasing bandwidth. It would just be a change in the monthly cost depending on the speed you choose to increase to. The only time you may be subject to fees is if you were to decrease the speed from what is contracted. So I was reading from Lumen's March 10
okay.
email on that.
And the two sites, the airport and the road and bridge, have the lowest tiered bandwidth of 100 megs on the 1 gig line. And we've kind of abandoned all, we had a lot of questions for a long period of time on getting back on that 100 meg line, but we've already installed the 1 gig. And so at this point, it's not a question of going from the 1 gig to the 100 meg, but again, moving through those tiers on the 1 gig fiber line or circuit. I'll just throw them all in there and maybe get the right one. The airport and the road and bridge have the lowest tier right now at 100, and the courthouse has 200. So I would not anticipate that we would reduce our use, but
So the decision that we have to make right now then is to go with either 16 months or 36 months, right?
correct. Yep.
Okay. I think I'm more inclined at this point to consider 16 months, just because I think if there's something that happens, it leaves us at least a smaller liability than a larger contract, I think. And I think if as we get closer to that 16 months, if we feel like we want to renegotiate to make that longer, then at that time, it gives us a better ability to do that.
That sounds fine. Yeah, I really don't have a hard suggestion to the board either way at this point, or a strong suggestion.
Yeah, I think it's sort of unknowable, but I think I lean also towards what Commissioner Marcella just said, that somehow 3 years sounds like a long time in the world of IT and changes in the county to sort of lock in. So I'm inclined to keep more flexibility at the risk of some rates going up.
Yeah.
Great.
So I will, oh, sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Mudge.
No, I was just gonna pull up the, see if I could pull up the document for any more specific reference number for a motion, but if you have, oh. I apologize. I'm failing to find that easily right now. There we go. Let's see. So I would entertain a motion to approve the Lumen contract under a 16-month or term to finish out the existing overriding contract from 2019 per order number Q-01097952.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion?
No, thank you. Thanks for working on that, Commissioner Mudge.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. And that's a pretty significant cost savings
Yeah.
for us, so thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, definitely. And thanks to IT staff as well for chiming in and persevering through with me. That's been a bumpy one. So this is nice to get completed. All right, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Excellent, thank you. All right, number 3 on our agenda, we have Mount Massive Golf Course and SBA and IEDL loan approval. So per our lease with the golf board, and I see a few golf board members and the golf course manager has joined us. Per our lease with the golf course, the board, the golf course management, sorry, Mount Massive Golf Course Board needs approval of the Board of Commissioners before entering into any kind of loan or agreement. And so the golf board has been working diligently and to apply for this loan to go towards their operational costs and plans through this year. And I will open it up to Betsy and or Tracy to give us some more context, if you will.
All right, so we applied this year for a small business administration EIDL loan, and through SBA are approved, and the amount of that loan is $131,400, which can be used for working capital. So we can use it for payroll, insurance, utilities, and things like that. The reason that it's a big advantage for the county and the golf course and the board of county commissioners is that will help us make a large lump sum payment as soon as possible on our irrigation loan, irrigation infrastructure loan, which we have approximately $215,000 left on that loan, which uses the land which we lease from the county as our collateral. So our plan is to make a large lump sum as soon as possible and then make sure we can get through the golf season and possibly pay off the rest of that loan once we know the golf season's going pretty well and we can pay all our bills and everything. So Tracy is our board treasurer and Craig is our general manager at the golf course. So I don't know, Tracy, if you have any more you'd like to add to the plan.
Thanks, Betsy. Yeah, I'd just like to say that the EIDL loan only encumbers the equipment on the golf course. It also, the interest rate's 2.5% versus the 6% we're paying right now. And it doesn't require us to start paying it back until next year. So even with paying a large lump sum, we've already received the loan. We haven't spent any of it because we need your approval. But it is sitting in the bank account right now. So we hope to make a large lump sum payment and we can use this loan for everything except equipment, refinancing a loan, or repair or maintenance. So the plan is to use it to pay all our operating expenses. We bank that money that we're not spending, and then as soon as we have the correct amount to pay off the loan, I'm hoping that we can pay it off by August or September. So I think it's a win-win for everybody here. So.
Yeah, I'd like to just say, having worked with the golf course board over the last couple of years, it's really nice to get to this point and have some resources to really address that, your operating and other debt services. As Betsy kind of mentioned, the county land is collateral, and which also includes water rights, unfortunately, but this is definitely to the benefit to kind of release us of this the terms of the current loan. So I do appreciate you all coming up with an operational plan and addressing this for the county. Any questions from my fellow commissioners?
I just have one question for clarification. Is this going to pay off the balance on the irrigation loan?
No, the EIDL loan will pay for the operating costs so that the golf course funds can then be used elsewhere.
Okay.
If I can share my screen, I can show kind of what we're thinking about.
You should be able to.
Okay. So we had a really good year last year, and we currently, this is a little bit less because we cost us about $10,000 a month to, even during the winter, to operate. So I think we have about $145,000 in the bank. The EIDL loan is $131,400. And then these are our figures from last year. Expenditures probably won't change too much. So if we can pay the majority of these expenditures out of the EIDL loan, this is money that would go into our bank account, basically. We wouldn't have to touch that. And then this is our revenue from last year. So I'm thinking by the time we get to August, we would have enough money in the bank to pay off whatever's left of the loan. So these are a little bit off because I didn't expect us to get funded so quickly. So as I said, we already have the EIDL loan is funded. So next month we can make a payment of $120,000. We'll still have money, $25,000 in the bank in reserve for any equipment or repair expenses. And then hopefully we'll continue to pay the irrigation loan. And then hopefully by August, the remaining balance of approximately $85,000 we could pay off. So it would be done.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tracy. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I don't have any questions outside of that.
I don't have any questions on this.
Great. I'll entertain a motion then to approve the acceptance and award of the SBA EIDL loan for the Mount Massive Golf Course, or to the Mount Massive Golf Course Board.
So moved.
Second?
All right, any further discussion? Thank you for being here, you all, on behalf
Yeah,
of the golf
thank you.
course. Appreciate
No
it.
discussion from me. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah,
Jeff,
no, just
anything?
that. I mean, thanks also, yeah, for the clear presentation, and yeah, so switching that over, both the lower interest rate and moving the collateral off of the, you know, land itself, as I understood that sounds like a no-brainer. So thank you.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge. All right. Hearing no further discussion, all of those in favor, aye.
Aye.
I
Excellent. Thanks again, Betsy, Tracy, Craig. Really appreciate it. All right, moving on then to item number 4. We have the Lake County Sheriff's Office fleet liquidation approval for Public Works to auction off. It actually also includes a couple of other vehicles for the county. We got a list of, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. It's 17. Commissioners, would you like me to pull this list up as a reminder, or do you not have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I did just want to let you both know that I did follow up with Sheriff Reyes and Michael Irwin, and the vehicles listed on the document from Public Works and Michael Irwin are good to be disposed.
Yep, great, thank you. Yeah, Public
Great,
Works.
thanks. That was going to be my one question, just to double check that.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael did receive those, Public Works received those from Deputy Wyman, so we should be good to go. All right, if there's no further questions on the list of vehicles to be auctioned, I'll entertain a motion for the 2020 assets to be auctioned.
Actually, sorry, I had one other question, just to haven't gone through this as a new commissioner. Where do the proceeds from this just go into the general fund, or where do they go?
Yeah, I think historically we have put them into the general fund, but I'll let Crystal answer. I don't know if we can maybe like allocate the money from the sale of these old sheriff's vehicles to pay for a payment on their new ones. Crystal, what's your thoughts?
Sorry, Kayla, I was in the other room. I didn't quite hear that.
Do you have a recommendation or historical knowledge of where the revenue from the disposition of these vehicles would go? Could we allocate that through a motion to pay for a payment on the sheriff's new vehicles?
I think it would depend on where they were paid from previously. I would maybe have to get with Christine on that and see if we could find out where that was, and go from there. And then if it's not from the sheriff's, then I think the board could make that determination.
Okay, so if they were taken out of capital assets, like if they were originally purchased out of CapAc and the new vehicles are in CapAc, then we could supplement that revenue for a future payment.
I believe so. I would feel more comfortable checking with the CPA,
Okay.
just to be sure on that.
Okay, I think that'd be great, Crystal, but I think if that is something that you and her determine to be appropriate, that's what my preference would be.
Okay, I will look into it.
And just looking at the chat, looks like Mabel has some knowledge of maybe previous transactions like this.
Yeah, and I think Public Works has their own sale of assets accounts for their vehicles as well. So I think if Crystal can look into where those vehicles were originally paid from and what we can do with the revenue, putting it into those accounts, that'd be good.
Agreed. All right.
Do you have a list of those vehicles, Commissioner Marcella, so I could look into the detail on them?
Let me forward
Yeah.
that to you.
Yeah, Commissioner Mudge will forward it to you. Michael Irwin put it together at Public Works.
Yeah, if I could just get an email copy, that would be great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, I will entertain a motion then.
I will make a motion that we approve the list of vehicles for asset disposition.
Second?
Any further discussion?
No, thank you.
None for me.
All right, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Great. Thank you very much. Okay, and next on our list, number 5, Get Outdoors Leadville GOGO Grant Amendment and Resolution. Commissioner Marcella, do you have a little more background? Oh, I did see Beth on here. There she is. Hello, Beth. You want to give us a little blurb on the amendment for corrections to the agreement, your agreement, please?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Mudge, and hello, commissioners. Thanks for accommodating a little update today at the meeting. We, as you know, were awarded an additional $1.5 million from GOGO this past December, so December 2020. And what's before you today is just the basically grant award amendment that ultimately finalizes that with GOGO. So rather than having this structured as a separate grant, they basically took the original Generation Wild grant, have added both the original grant award and the supplementary grant award, and then amended the grant award agreement with this document before you today. Key to note, again, it's $1.5 million. They have put in there a distribution schedule. They, based on their budgets, have a disbursement amount for the next 3 years, 2021, 2022, 2023. But ultimately, the grant deadline is extended through June 30th, 2025. So that's the extension of the programming spend down that we have. The additional attachments associated with that are just the other files that accompany it. So the original grant award, as well as our sort of operational budget, covering that 2021 through 2023 period, showing GOGO how we would receive the grant funds and spend them down through programs. And then also attached is the basically proposal that we put forward to them last summer, which was the basis for their award in December, outlining the scope that we will be performing over the coming 3 years with these grant dollars, which really is an extension continuation of our core programs from the original Inspire initiative, Generation Wild. And the last file included is the resolution that the commissioners adopted in December of 2020 that basically allowed us to pursue and receive the updated grant award. So really it's just a formality that the commissioners sign off on the grant amendment. This will then be sent back to the GOGO staff, who will issue that first installment of the 2021 grant award payment to the county. Any questions on any of that?
I don't have any questions for you, Beth.
I don't either. Thank you for doing that work and making sure that that money continues to come in, because that programming and services that GOAL offers is extremely unique to our community and such a huge asset. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Marcella. Obviously, we feel the same way, although we'll name that we're biased in that. But it's really validating to have the affirmation both from some of our key funders who see the value in the work, as well as from the community and the community leadership. Of note, this grant award doesn't ask any cash match from the county. So know that, gratefully, because of your willingness to sponsor us as a fiscal sponsor, that's given us a really robust environment to develop other key funder relationships that now have us at about 25 to 30% cash match year over year through those external funding relationships. So we're being able to bring in some pretty significant money into the community to support the programs without needing to have that ask internally, which feels good as well. So thank you again. I will just get the recorded copy then from Patty and get this off to GOCO, and then sync up with Crystal to get that transfer over into our accounts. And I look forward to, within the next 2 months or so, if we could maybe schedule a work session to give you a little bit more comprehensive update on goal status. We've had some huge milestones with the gear library and the building opening, as well as a new ED coming in here soon. And I'd love to just have the opportunity to give you a little bit more holistic update and reflection on our impacts. So thanks again.
No, thank you so much. And also, I'd like to take the opportunity to add to GOCO is one of the large funders of the land acquisition down south. And so they're super excited about, where all these steps and kind of responsibilities and roles that the county is playing can lead. And so there's lots of opportunity for sure.
Yeah, it begets just more and more really great progress for the county at large. So that's awesome. All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. So I'm sorry, do we have a resolution to pass, or the just the contract? And how would you like us to frame that? Would you frame that for us?
Sure, thank you for clarifying. So it's just the Word document, which is the grant amendment file.
Okay.
So it should read title line First Amendment to Grant Agreement. And again, it's just, an extension ultimately of our original grant award. And I believe that the signatory line would be determined by you, presumably that would be the commissioner's chair. And then we would ultimately send over for GOCO to countersign it. And then I would route a copy back to you for our files within the county as well.
Perfect. Okay. All right, then. Thanks, Beth. And with that, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the First Amendment of the Get Outdoors Leadville and GOCO grant award.
So moved.
Sorry, slow on the mute button. Second.
Thanks. Any further discussion?
No, thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you. Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Great. Thank you so much, Beth.
Thank you guys very much. Good to see you.
You too. All right, on to item number 6. Let's see, consideration to waive fees for the Lake County or Leadville Lake County Fire District CUP for training facility.
So this is from me. Shawn Simon with the Leadville Lake County Fire Rescue had sent an email to Patty, and she had forwarded it to me, that in their CUP application, they were going to come to the board to request from us to waive the fee for the CUP for the permit for the training facility located out on County Road 11. So that was just part of our consideration for today. Paul, do you have anything to add to that?
Sorry, I was multitasking. You know what happens when I do that. No, I don't really have anything to add to that.
I will add that we did waive the fees for the permitting of the fire station 2, correct?
That was the building permit, but I also think that the use permit fees were waived as well. Yes.
I have no questions or concerns for the consideration from me, Commissioner Marcella.
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything further either. Commissioner Fiedler, do you have any questions?
Well, I was just curious if that's sort of been standard practice for the BOCC or the county to waive fees for kind of facilities or use by the county. I mean, that seems to make sense, but I just wasn't sure if this was kind of standard or if we have, or, yeah.
Paul, do you want to give some background on that? I think it's been, Commissioner Fiedler, in my experience, it's been that way, particularly with things like the Southern Fire Station and anything in relation to the fire station or fire operations, because the county would end up paying itself because we pay for a portion of their budget. So Paul, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
As a general practice, I'm aware of some counties that if a fee is generated by one county because of an application by another department within that same county, it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
And I think in this case that we can consider the Leadville Lake County Fire Rescue to be kind of an arm of us. And we'd be taking from them to do something that'll be advantageous, that's intended to be for us. So I think that there is a precedent for internal circumstances such as this to waive the fee.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I might just suggest, I mean, maybe at a future work session, BOCC, I mean, it'd be good just to sort of like formalize this, like if we have a policy that, you know, county applicants are just routinely waived, we wouldn't even have to discuss this, and it'll be certainty for that budgeting or whatever. Just seems like it might be good to just get it on paper somewhere.
I might suggest that that could have some pretty far-reaching implications. In the case of the fire station, that was a $10,000 permit, building permit fee waiver, of which the county had to spend about $7,500 to review the plans and do the inspection.
Yeah.
So, it turned out to be about a nearly $18,000 effective waiver.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. I think that's why it's worth time on a work session rather than just, you know, cranking some quick decision out, you know, to see, yeah, I mean, and with other, I mean, you know, just think through, yeah, how big a hit could that be? Because you're right, it's not $100.
In this case, it's $250.
Right. It's a good point, Commissioner Fiedler. Thanks.
Agreed.
Thanks for the input, Paul. If there's no other discussion there, I'll entertain a motion to approve the waiver of fees for the conditional use permit on the training facility.
So moved.
Sorry, with fire rescue.
So moved.
Second.
All right. I don't think there's any further discussion. And hearing none. All righty. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. And then item 7, we have county manager recruitment and job posting. And the board wanted to put this on the agenda to kind of give an update on where we are in the process. Some of our prior conversations, we had discussed the intention and the desire to engage with an outside third-party recruitment firm to do a very broad search nationwide. We have done that before. And I think Commissioner Marcella had been doing some research on job descriptions and whatnot, came across Clear County in the midst of the same process to hire a replacement for their retiring county manager. And it sounds, and also I think in getting a couple of potential price tags for engaging with a recruitment firm. And we just wanted to bring the conversation to the public. And I think we'd like to chat a little bit through whether or not we think that we could, get solicit some great interest without recruitment and without an additional price tag of $20,000+. So again, we just wanted to bring that process to the forefront and have that as a public conversation. Commissioner Marcella, do you have any other comments there?
No, I don't think so. I think just the price for a typical quote unquote headhunter or executive recruiting firm for this position are equivalent to that of an annual salary for an entry-level admin position. And so I don't think that we're in a place where we can afford to do that at this point, but that doesn't mean that we can't be resourceful and utilize people that have gone into this territory prior to us. So in those conversations with Clear Creek County commissioners, who are great, by the way, they talked about their county manager retiring and him potentially being of some value to us. And so I'll have a conversation with him this afternoon to just see, talk through that process with him and see how it's evolving in Clear Creek. They do have their DOLA representatives engaged as well in the recruitment and vetting process for candidates. And so I think that's a really great tool and idea for us to utilize, since they're also funding the position for a fairly decent amount of time. And so so definitely looking to take advantage of that and have that conversation with our DOLA rep sometime soon about convening a panel to help us with the interview and vetting process as well. So I think just, kind of continuing to reiterate that this is a huge undertaking and that the individual that comes into this position is going to need to take on the implementation of this position and make it something successful, requires us to have a candidate that's fully aware of the uniqueness of this position, and that it's really the first time this position has been implemented, and this formal organizational structure has been implemented here. And so definitely want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence in doing that. But I will say, Commissioner Fiedler and I and Commissioner Mudge and I participate very frequently in a lot of regional and statewide conversations. And a lot of the feedback that at least myself have heard from fellow county commissioners in those conversations always continue to come back to, how do you do that without a county manager? How do you function as a county without a county manager? And it's really just because of the value add component to your elected officials, right? So it allows your elected officials to know that the internal operations of your organization are working on a day-to-day basis, and takes that pressure off of us as commissioners, and allows us to really do that work that we were elected to do, which is to represent our constituents. And I think it's definitely past time that we have said, oh, those don't affect us. Those laws don't affect us. Those things don't affect us. Because everything does affect us, because we are a part of the state. We're one of 64 pieces, and it does affect us in some way or another. And we've got to be at the table to advocate for ourselves and for our neighboring counties. And what we've learned, at least these first 3 months in 2021 or through the pandemic, is that together, county commissioners in our regional mountain communities, Chaffee Lake, Eagle Park, have been great partners to us. And so what we've learned is that our voices are louder together than if we're not there at all. And so it's really important for us to educate ourselves and educate our citizenry of what's happening and how those things are affecting us. So so that's kind of all the update I have so far on really the position and some of the legwork I've done to figure out how to make the recruitment really successful and really unbiased, so that there's not, that it's not a political transition, but rather an organizational transition that happens really successfully.
Thanks, Commissioner Marcelo. And I think it's important too to say that the I think our intention would be to, of course, post beyond the Herald. No offense, the Herald. See you all here, but we're going to use those avenues and other resources through professional solicitation of the opportunity, as well as DOLA, and then I think Commissioner Marcel is going to continue to. It sounds like reach out and see between, other colleagues and DOLA how we can get a level of recruitment and review before the board then sees any kind of applicants, so we can have that high level vetting. But I just want to be sure that we do agree to post this far and wide on as many platforms as we can, which seems it seems to have proven successful for Clear Creek County with the amount of interest that they saw, and I think that should it not result in some eligible and suitable candidates for the county, we are also, I think we are dedicated to doing this right, and finding a fit that we need.
Yeah, and I think just for clarification's sake too, Commissioner Mutch, we do have every intent on posting locally and taking stock and inventory of our local talent that we may have here that may be a good fit for us.
Absolutely, yes. Thanks for that. I did not intend to say that we would not be doing that, but
it's all good.
Yeah. Commissioner Fiedler?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate the point you made at the end of your comments that we're choosing to not hire an expensive executive recruiter doesn't mean we're locked in to choosing whoever throws their hat in the ring. If we don't find a good pool of candidates, then it's a loss of time, but we can absolutely reopen or keep open the application process. So that makes me comfortable in again seeing how Clear Creek has been successful in getting a really good applicant pool in. I think it's definitely good to take this path first. And if I could, I just wanted to add, since I think the award of the DOLA matching funds for this position was sort of before I was sworn in, I just wanted to say that I definitely am in favor of moving forward with hiring a county manager. I'll say 2 months on the job, it's just pretty stunning the volume of sort of day-to-day management stuff with individual departments and across the county that comes into our inboxes and on our calendar. And it really just sucks a huge amount of time and energy out of our ability, as Commissioner Marcelo said, to work with neighboring counties, to pay attention to state legislation, just to do basic stuff like thinking about, our comprehensive plan and economic development and everything, all the big forward-looking stuff. It just inevitably sucks huge amounts of time out of that. So I really see it as good for what taxpayers and voters put us here to do. And then also for the department directors, I think it just sort of removes us from any temptation to micromanage stuff that we shouldn't be. And we'll give department directors some more professional and consistent management that they deserve. So yeah, just to say in a public meeting that I'm in favor of this path going forward and really looking forward to it.
Colleen, I see you have your hand raised. Do you have a question for the board?
Yeah, I was just, I so appreciate hearing all the comments from the commissioners and kind of what that path forward looks like. It is, a director that would be underneath a county manager structure. I just hope that there is room for opportunity for, directors to participate, in the process, whatever that may or may not look like. I think that warrants a bigger conversation. And
Thanks, Colleen. Yeah, we have definitely acknowledged, we do still have some groundwork to do internally on that operational structure and those expectations set between departments and the board, and the manager and their whatever support staff that would include. So definitely a couple of parallel processes and to go through here. But
I think, right, and I apologize, I recognize my internet's not the best today, but just the fact that if there is opportunity for directors to be part of that hiring process, I think, and that just feels more inclusive all the way around per the decision, if you will, versus, made in isolation with no input from directors who would have to directly report to this person.
Yep. No, and as we've kind of discussed before, the hospital and the school district have had some, very public facing interaction and processes that they've followed in hiring. And I think that we would desire to do something very similar to that. So, that's part of the plan. All right.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Great. Well, thanks for that discussion. Commissioners, any other comments on the status and moving forward with recruitment and job posting for county manager?
I don't think so, Commissioner Mudge. I think what, excuse me, my preferred timeline anyway is to maybe move forward to getting something out and posted by next Friday. If we feel like we might be able to come to a consensus on a job posting by then.
That'd be great. Yep.
Cool. So I think if we are going to push our conversation with building and land use out further, and we have a work session scheduled for next Tuesday, perhaps could we take that time to really go through that job posting to make sure it's an accurate reflection of what we want to put out, and then we can determine where we want to put that.
Sounds like a good use of time.
Yeah,
Jeff?
that sounds great. And if I heard, and also might be good to just, again, like really talk through, what some of those professional networks and other posting avenues are, just so we have that checklist and make sure we really do that and get that all done.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so we'll put that on the calendar to chat on the 23rd through that and some of that preparation. Thanks. All right. All right. Looks like that's no more comments on item 7, county manager conversation. So on to our last item of business, Mountain View. Is that Colorado? Mountain View, Colorado. Sorry, LLC doing business as Stop and Go fermented malt liquor license. We have a renewal. And Patty Berger brought this to us, the clerk, and gave us the fees paid. And Patty, as always, we'd like to ask you if you have any issues or concerns and any reports on the license before our consideration. You're still muted, Patty. Well, not sure if Patty's there. That's okay. I am comfortable usually there aren't any issues, but I think that if there are, Patty brings those to us at the forefront, and she did not raise any questions for us or concerns. Patty, are you there to give us a final thumbs up on the renewal of the fermented malt liquor license for Stop and Go? Okay, it doesn't seem so. That's all right. I don't have any questions. I don't have any concerns. Their paperwork was in order. Unless my fellow commissioners have any questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the renewal of Mountain View, Colorado, LLC, doing business as Stop and Go fermented malt liquor.
So moved.
Second, and no questions for me.
None for me either. The paperwork looked good.
Yeah, sorry, and I kind of misspoke there. They're not doing business as fermented malt liquor. They're doing business as Stop and Go for their malt liquor license renewal. All right. Without any further discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
I,
Okay, thank you. And then last on our agenda, we have bills and payroll. And I'll entertain a motion to approve bills and payroll paid through, I'm gonna pull up the dates here.
Should be March 12th, I believe, Commissioner.
Okay, through March 12th.
So moved.
second.
Okay, any further discussion?
No, thank you.
And I'll just add quickly, I mean, these are bills and payroll. The BOCC does review both payroll and bills separately. So these are approved, approval to pay those that we have approved.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Fiedler. All right. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
I,
All right, unanimous, thank you. And then I'll entertain an approval of the Veteran Service Officer Report for February.
I will make a motion that we approve the Veteran Service Report for February.
second.
All right, any further discussion?
None for
Okay.
me.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I,
All right, great. And so we have some steps queued up for our work session next week. Thank you, Commissioner Marcella. And I will get back to the board on the terms of Lumen, should that look different, which I would not expect. And other than, oh, I will also return and update the board on the result of the meeting on the 24th with Central Colorado Conservancy and the trustees panel for the acquisition of the Andrick properties. And those are slated for to close on April 1st. Very good. Anything else?
No,
Go
I just wanted to make you both aware that Mayor Lave will also be on our agenda for our work session next week on the 23rd. He had connected with Patty to come and chat with us about an event in June, and I believe that it is involves the motocross track and is a moto event. But he wants to have that conversation next week, so he'll also be on our work session agenda for a brief conversation. So that and our county manager stuff.
Okay. All right. And I suppose we will, maybe, I'm sure the mayor will be a part of any developing conversations on special events and whatnot over the next coming weeks regarding preparation for the season and for any changes coming down the pike regarding COVID and protocol. But okay, we can sneak that in. Alrighty. If there's nothing else, 2:24, I see no. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Fiedler. All right, 2:24, we will be adjourned. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
You too.
you.